Hello and welcome to another Six Sages Gaming Deck Spotlight, and today I have for you the Ultima control build that I ended up facing in the last round of day 2 of Nationals actually, and I really loved the list. We played this very interesting game where he saw both Ultima, so he milled a lot of his cards, and I didn't get to see the deck interact the way it should have originally, so I really want to take the time to cover it. I'm going to be playing it at locals later this week, and I really love the shell of what he had because there hasn't been a lot of heavy control decks playing very few forwards. You know, outside the mill deck that wants to win by, well, of course, milling, this does still want to win by damage and has to win by damage. And when you're playing things like Ultima, you do have to play these very resilient forwards that allow you to go the distance, get some extra value out of them. And at the end of the day, Lulu is an amazing card as well. So we're going to talk about this deck and really talk about the intricate parts that make it tick. And I know that you probably are so tired of seeing this combination, but it is so important to play Al-Cid in this deck because, one, Rygdea himself just pairs very well with some of your other cards like your Black Mage backup or even Lulu itself. So this entire deck is enabling the 2-drop, but Al-Cid and Onion Knight, of course, is a very powerful combo that is going to kill virtually everything in the game. Now, yes, someone in the background is going, but Minwoo! Yes, Minwoo is still a problem, but you do have 3 summons to handle it. And you do, again, have the Black Mage that can reduce something's power, so you can still get around it that way. Now, of course, we do also play Freya, which you're going to see in a moment. So that's another target for Al-Cid. And sometimes just playing Black Mage into Al-Cid into a free 3-drop is going to be good enough. So, of course, we are playing the entire package, 3, 3, and 3 all the way across. Cards are great, and it, again, is critically important to put 2 forwards on the board so you can pressure that early damage when you really need to. Speaking of kind of those more resilient forwards, or what we really care about are the 2 most important forwards in this deck. The brand new 4-drop Gilgamesh, which has not been seeing a lot of play lately, except in this deck, and then Onion Knight. Gilgamesh, a little bit more straightforward. It's a 4-drop AK, which is fine stat-wise, but then it has that rainbow of effects, and because we're playing Shantotto, we can turn on all of these. Yes, the choosing a forward, dealing at 2,000 damage and fire, yep, our deck can absolutely use that. Can't be targeted by summons during this turn, yeah, make him really difficult to remove, giving him plus 1,000 power, and we already have Earth backup, so we're just going to make him huge, and then the option to give him haste. Gilgamesh, hands down, is going to be, you never discard a Gilgamesh. I cannot stress that enough. If you play this deck, I don't care what's in your hand, do not discard him unless you plan on having a Fusoya very soon to bring him back. And then Onion Knight is a little bit interesting. Of course, it does go with Ultima that it goes from that 7 cost to a 5 cost because you have a light character in play. But it's important to note here that it has haste, so obviously it's a great follow-up to Shantotto getting a point of damage. But it's important that you can bounce it to your hand. So if you really need to, you can play about your turn, go to attack, attack with the other guys, bounce Onion Knight back to your hand while he's still active, play your Shantotto, clear the board, have Onion Knight played again. It's also worth noting because we're playing the other Onion Knight and we want to be doing these things where you're saying use Gilgamesh's fire effect for 2,000 damage, bounce Onion Knight to your hand for 1, so you're a total investment of 2, and then you get to play the Onion Knight and hit something for a total of 7,000 damage at that point. And that's a really strong combo that this deck allows. So it might not seem like a lot where it's like, oh, but you know, I could just discard a card and tap 1 if I want to play the Onion Knight, say if the light version wasn't in play, sure, but this deck really wants to maximize its resources and keep as many cards in your hand as possible. So the little interactions this deck has, like that with the Gilgamesh, fire Gilgamesh, if you will, into the Onion Knight bounce effect can be very strong. It's also important to note that when you return the Onion Knight to your hand, it is a May. So again, with the Shantotto play Onion Knight, bounce it to your hand, play your Shantotto, don't have to, you know, use the effect, and then play it after. So there's a lot of versatility where Onion Knight might not really seem like it has a place in this deck originally, but once you start playing it, once you start using it a little bit more, it absolutely is a key part. And then we have more of our utility forwards, if you will. And again, we have the Al-Cid package, the 2 forwards we care most about, and then these are certainly good as well, but they have probably those more very specific roles that they want to be filling. Delita, of course, being able to break Shantotto so you can play another one, very important. Also great to note here is that the special that he has, choose 1 forward, block and delete it and break it, can be very helpful as well. So all around great card. Gippal combos very well with Tama that we're going to see later in case you don't have a Shantotto, for example. Gippal can come down, have a blocker, gives your entire team plus 4,000 and, you know, hold off a turn when needed. And then Freya. This is one of the changes that the player had made when we were talking, and it really is something that, yes, it's a 3-drop, 5k, it can come into play off Al-Cid, but it has first strike, so you're always able to threaten, again, assuming that they don't have Minwu, a Lulu activation with Freya's first strike, so she could handle up to a 10k body in the field. Cherry Blossom, of course, not going to be doing a ton. We only played 2 copies. There's no other Dragoons in this deck. If you wanted to be really cheeky, you could probably add the Opus 1 Cane, where on EX Burst it does shrink something. It gives you another ability to use Lulu's effect, so you can play around Minwu that way. That's just one of those other options that you might want to do. However, I'm going to use this list first, test it myself personally, and then see if we can find room for the original Cane or not. And then we have our summons. Again, 3 Hecatoncheir, or I always call it Bike. Absolutely must save it for Minwu. Of course, outside of that, killing the 1,000 backups can make your math better on certain effects. If in a pinch, we can break our own Shantotto with it, if we just cannot find a Delita for whatever reason. If they have an Aerith, you just, that's a no-brainer. Aerith turns off backups. We really like using our backups, and we have to kill that. So this deck absolutely has to play 3 of it. The card that absolutely stonewalled me for so long and why we ultimately ended up drawing is Exodus. There was a number of board states where he was just able to, in whatever it was that I had, if it was like a Pain and a Zidane or what have you, in play, he was able to kill both of them. So he got rid of my 3-drops and he called 5, got rid of 2 5-drops. It was just a really awful time for me. But it goes to show that this is a very skillful card and you have to know when to use it. Of course, if you have no board, that's going to be the absolute best time to use it, because it's going to be at least a 2-for-1 in the sense that you should be able to get 2 of their 4s when you're using it. And then there's other decks like Golbez where you can set up a turn where you break their Golbez, they try to attack in the next turn, and you go, well, Exodus for 2, good game. And it is a straight counter in that regard. And then finally, the last card that I'm so happy to see outside of the Water and Light deck is Ultima, the High Seraph. Again, if you control a light forward, its cost is reduced by 2, and then you remove all forwards on the field other than light and dark. And then, of course, you do have to mill yourself, so you do have to be careful about when you're using this. But again, Onion Knight, it's great for having him on the field, reduce the cost. In some matchups, you're going to get to swing for a free point of damage. In other cases, you're going to have to do a little bit more work for it. But it does just give you that extra board wipe when you really need it. And again, being able to keep one of your guys on the field helps out tremendously. Then we're going to talk about our backups, and I know someone is going to ask, I do not have Shantotto, what can I play instead of this? Or maybe I only have 2. I cannot stress enough, there is absolutely no substitute for this card in this deck. This is absolutely a 3 of no matter what. I want to just take a moment to stress, how good it is and the effect of how critical it is towards this deck. Again, I probably can't say critical enough here or stress the importance, but color fixing is good, and clearing the board when you really need to is even better. And then we're going to go into our backups. So we have the more utility side of it, the 3 Black Mage, 2 Red Mage, and 2 Tama. 3 of the Black Mage, as we discussed, reduces something's power by 4,000, so you can do a Black Mage and then use that same Black Mage to break with Lulu's activation, kill at 9k, great stuff. Red Mage can give one of your guys haste. This is just always going to be a staple in Lightning decks, at least a 2 of. I don't see this going away anytime soon. And then 2 Tama. For those who may be not too familiar with Earth, the best thing that you're going to be doing with this often is catching your opponent off guard where they might overextend. You can break Tama on their turn, play the Shantotto, and just clear their board, and likely just getting a huge advantage thereon by going into your turn and being able to play a forward. And again, a couple of you guys have haste or have a way to give them haste, so chances are you might have a free point or 2 of damage. And then these are the ones that are a bit more interesting. And I know a lot of people are saying, okay, what is this first card? Because I have never seen it, or maybe you forgot that it exists, because I sure did. So Biggs, when you have a backup that is put from field into the break zone, you get to deal 1,000 damage to all forwards your opponent controls. Again, this really comes back to the math is important. You can do the Onion Knight plays. It helps with Lulu to deal 6k to something naturally. If you can combo it up with Gilgamesh, it gives you 3k plus the 5k from the 3-drop Onion Knight. So the deck does have a little bit of math that's involved if you're trying to think about which backups you can take care of in which order. And then in some cases you have the other Black Mage where it just says, oh look, something took damage, now I'm going to break it. So Black Mage is great here in the ability to sacrifice itself and destroy a damaged forward. And then for our last 2-drop, we have a 2 of Monk, just being able to give your guys a little bit of a power boost when you want to attack with them. And it gives them Brave, which is also very important for maybe some of those Onion Knight plays where we want to be able to both get in a point of damage with Onion Knight and bounce them to our hand to switch them out, and either, again, playing around the board wipe that we're going to be playing or comboing into the 3-drop Onion Knight with him. And then the absolute core of the deck that we've talked about this interaction previously, and specifically in the Dragoons deck, and it really is just that good, but Fusoya and Lulu. You play Fusoya, you get to deal 5,000 damage to something, you immediately break it with Lulu, you deal another 5,000 damage to something, you're going to kill a card, one of your opponent's cards, and get a forward back from your break zone. And we only played 20 forward, so you really have to look at Fusoya as this is the ability to get back those forwards when I really need them later on in the game, which of course is more often than not, you're getting either A, Gilgamesh back, or B, you're getting back an Al-Cid combo piece just to try to get back advantage that way. And of course, Lulu has the amazing Thundaga ability where you get to just do 10k damage to a forward. Yeah, sign me up. Always want to play 3 of this card, and I would be even a little cheeky to say I would like to see 1 extra copy of Lulu just so I have 1 extra Thundaga activation when it's absolutely needed. So that is the deck, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll give it a try at your locals sometime, either this week or next. I will say it does take a little bit of finesse and getting used to and getting comfortable with the deck, because you will make a lot of incorrect choices early on, but that is just the nature of learning kind of these hard control decks. And again, Final Fantasy didn't have one of these. You know, we've seen Earth Lightning pop up in the Opus 2.5 meta, I believe it was, in maybe the very early on of Opus 3, but we really haven't seen it in the past couple months, outside of maybe 1 or 2 regional tops. So I'm so excited to bring it to the channel and get to highlight it for you guys. So of course, if you like this video, make sure to drop us a like. It helps us out a lot and gets the word Final Fantasy out there. Drop us down a comment down below what kind of deck you want to see next, or if you want to submit a deck to us, please reach out to us on Facebook. And of course, subscribe for future Final Fantasy trading card game content. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in the next 6 Sages Gaming video. Have a good one. This video made possible thanks to the Patreon support of viewers such as yourself. Thank you to our honorary sages.